heck is that? I can't even get the day right. It's Monday. Like, oh, this is going to be a fun show. Well, it is going to be a fun show because today we're going to be talking about something that is freaking awesome. It's like one of my favorite subjects, and that is pricing. How much should you charge? How much should you charge? Whether it's building a product or whether you're implementing a lot of the directory type websites that we've talked about on the show. Maybe you're building a SaaS product, whatever it is. How much should you charge? Chances are you're spending a lot of time on that question, or possibly not enough. But if you're like me, I've spent a lot of time. I've spent years, in fact. For this show, I've went back through years of journals trying to make sure that I look for the key pieces of pricing information to bring to you. So hopefully I can bring them, hopefully I can communicate them, and hopefully I can help you build out your product in such a way that you can charge what it is that you want. So lots of good pricing information, and all of this information, everything we do today is for free. So the best price you can offer. With that said, say hi in the chat. Let me know you're here. Say hi to everybody else because, hey, this is a community of domain developers. Thanks for being with me. Let's get going.
Profit, domain to profit from a .com to a business idea. Take a domain name, develop an income from domain to profit. We'll show you how. Domain to profit from domain to profit. Join Drew Wash and get started right now.
The beauty that is pricing and domain development. I mean, doesn't pricing, it's where imagination meets like actual business. You have an idea and the question is how much should you charge for it? And I've run so many spreadsheets trying to figure out like how much could I make? Like this is where dreams happen, right? Like if I charge this much, I can make this much. If I charge this much, I can make this much. It's such fun. Michael, welcome. Thanks for being here. My consistent first comment. Let me see. Yes, it is showing up. Awesome. I appreciate you always coming out, and I hope that, hopefully you're joining this, whether it's Michael or anybody else, and you're like, pricing does matter. So one of my coaches, my primary coach, Darren Hardy, in fact, later on this week, I'm flying out to Phoenix with my wife, and we are going to sit in a hotel room and streaming live training from Darren. And one of the things that he's going to talk about, and I know this because I've done this training on several occasions, is how much can you charge? And he's going to say, the answer is you can charge whatever your ability to sell it at. Like, you can charge whatever price, assuming you have the ability to sell it at. And I know this because that guy gets me to spend a lot of money with him. He's a very good salesperson. But so with that in mind, whatever price you're going to charge, it's the price you want to sell it at. A lot of times, especially with products, I don't want to get too down this rabbit hole. I want to look at some domains, but because we are going to look at some domains, domain auctions, expired domains. I just want to mention though that companies, the companies you do business with, they don't charge whatever they can. They can charge whatever, they don't even charge like enough to make a profit. They literally charge whatever their ability to sell something is. Whether it's Apple getting us to buy $1,000 phones or McDonald's getting a few dollars per cheeseburger, whatever it is, realistically, there is quite a bit of flexibility there. Okay, well, let's go to the domains. It is always my favorite part, and that is talking about domain names. I am over here on expireddomains.net. Let me get out to the homepage. And as always, we come into the marketplace domains. Yours will look a little different. And today I'm going to start over on Dropcatch. Let's start off somewhere different. Reason being, really no specific reason. Just want to start off on one of these other platforms. There are several that we can always look through. I'm setting up the getting rid of hyphens, getting rid of numbers, 1 to 3 words of English, because that's what we concentrate, or what I concentrate on. You can feel free to change it as you please. And then we're going to be looking for things that end in the next 8 days. So that's 1 week plus a day. And we're going to apply that filter and see what we come up with. So the reason I am starting with Drop Catch, a lot of times I start with GoDaddy because they put out their appraisal. In the appraisal, while I disagree with it most of the time, well, all the time, it allows me to quickly get to the quality domain names that I want to talk about. But then last week I was looking at this, and Matt in my office said, hey, you can always look at the domains that have the most bids, which is what I'm clicking onto right now. So over on Dropcatch, I just ordered it by the number of bids, and you'll see here, cookeasy.com has 46 bids, $655. It's a brandable domain. I'm going to pass on it. Probably, actually, I have no idea how it's going for so much. Cookeasy? That's a brand, and by that I mean, best case scenario, you're going to call your brand, or you're going to build a website and you're going to call it Cookeasy, but Cookeasy doesn't actually mean something specific, like easy recipes maybe. But okay, so I'm going to be bypassing that one and just giving a look down the first page or so here. Trailer services. Hey, and let me just pull this up. Michael, yeah, absolutely. I'll be on the south side of Phoenix. I don't know anything about Phoenix. I don't take this the wrong way. I actually, we picked Phoenix because we needed to get away from life to focus on the training. And I don't know anything about Phoenix, so I figured if we go there, it'll be no problem to stay in the hotel room and do the training without distractions like I'd have in New York or California or something. So yeah, I'm gonna reach out to you on that. DM me some. I don't know how you can get me some contact information, but yeah, I love meeting up with people when I do these trips. So yeah, I'll absolutely would love to do that. So let me see, and that goes for anytime I'm traveling. That's why I announce it. If anybody's up for grabbing some coffee, okay. Trailer, assuming you're not like a serial killer or something. I know Michael's not. He's been around long enough. He's a dedicated serial killer if he has one. Okay, trailerservices.com. That's kind of interesting. Trailer services. I'm going to go toss that into SEMrush. One of the things you know about me is that I love my transportation type domain names. I just want to see what this domain. I want to look at, are there people searching for it? What do the keywords look like? Who are the advertisers? Running it through the several checks that we do for domain names. And when this pulls up, I'll kind of run you through this. Yes. Michael says it is hot. He said that in the comments, and that is why my wife wants to go there. She loves the heat, and I just point to the fact that I'm a pale redhead and say, yeah, I'll stay inside in the air conditioning. I like the sun, but it does not like me. Okay, so let me share out my screen. You see my screen? I'm a little out of it, I guess. Okay, here we go. It has a authority score, so it has some SEO juice behind it, some backlinks, but the actual keywords, there's really nothing showing up. There's nothing. Oh, let's check out the. I typed it as a domain name, so the domain name does have some authority to it already. And then I am moving over to look at the keyword trailer services. 1.6 thousand searches, $3 per click. Trailer service near me. Trailer rental service. Okay, so these are some pretty good. Keywords. So when it comes down to that domain, this one is over on Dropcatch, which is dropcatch.com. It is a service that they grab domains as they're about to expire, and then they put them up for auction. So dropcatch.com will be getting a bid. I'll probably be bidding on that one. Let's see what it's running right now. So 385. You'll probably be seeing a Drew Walsh bid pop up on that one because that's in my wheelhouse, baby. That's in my transportation. So trailerservices.com. Okay, what would I put on trailerservices.com, or what might you put on trailerservices.com if you like that domain name? Well, that's a good question. Let's go over, get rid of the Bitcoin thing here. Trailer Services. Let's see who is advertising. So we saw on the SEM Rush that people are paying. We have people that are paying, $3 per click, 1,600 searches for the exact keywords, some other searches that we can show up for. So what are they actually like seeing when they're going there? Who's actually paying this money? That's what we're going out. I just did a Google search to view this, and here we go. So you see here E&J Trailer Sales and Services, Midwest Fleet Services. So there's actually not, if you look here, there's no ads at the top of this page. So we don't see any ads up here, and which makes you kind of go, who's paying $3 per click if there's nothing that's showing up there? Trailer Sales and Service, Trailer Service. So we are seeing some people use the Trailer Services, the main keywords in their actual natural search engine rankings, but we don't see those ads. So we don't actually see people paying to reach this keyword, which that actually kills the value of this domain name. If you've been watching, you see that that's one of the key pieces of the value of a domain name is, are people actually advertising to reach that specific domain name? For me, I'm going to bid on the domain name because if you look up here and you see these companies up here, these are companies that I already want as my customers. These are companies that do truck and trailer repair. We already own truckrepair.com. We already target these people, so Trailer Services, the reason why I'm interested in it is because it solidifies and helps us bring in more to our existing business. But if it wasn't for that, I'd probably max out pretty quickly on that domain. Okay. Hopefully that was some helpful information on that domain name. That's went off a little bit in an unusual path, but that's not a bad thing. Let's see here. Ad delivery. Kind of like it. It describes something that people deal with, except for ad delivery. I don't know offhand like what you would make money off of on that. And you'll see that the domain names will quickly, like all these that we're looking at now are down to over on the side. You'll see that the number of bids are very low already. So we're down to 1 or 2 bids max. So we're not going to go very far down this list because the domain names that we usually see here are hit or miss as to if they're worth registering. Stocks Analyzer. There we go. That's just one for the warning. If it was Stock Analyzer, that domain name would be freaking huge. There's a hidden S in there. So always a warning out to English as a second language, especially that middle S. Stocks would be a good domain. Stock Analyzer would be a good domain. Heck, even Stock Analyzers would be a good domain. But stocksanalyzer.com, it just, in that case, I think it loses some value, but that's actually a pretty reasonable Stocks Analyzer. You analyze multiple stocks typically. I don't know. I could see there being some play with that. Going for $59 is currently what that's listed for. They might have a reserve. It says it's a private seller, so there might be a reserve on it. It's not worth much. That middle S, I don't like it. Unless it is perfect, unless it makes sense. Puppy Dreamer. Okay, we are going to nix this. We're going to go off to the, I want to go to look at Snap Names real quick. So heading over to Snap Names, pre-release domains. This is just another one. So a lot of times we talk about GoDaddy. and GoDaddy auctions. they have a lot of expired domain names. They pull out more than anyone else currently, and that's why we spend a lot of time on GoDaddy domains each week. However, I want to make sure that we look through some of these other lists, especially since, as I mentioned, Matt here in my office kind of mentioned, like, just order it by price or order it by number of bids, and then you can kind of see some of the ones that others are bidding on, which just because others are bidding on it does not mean it's a good domain. Just because the price is really high does not, hopefully you've been with me enough weeks to know that's the case. But just warning, just putting that warning out there. So sharing out the screen one more time. We are now over SnapNames. So this is snapnames.com, and they do both a mix of expired domain names as well as some private party ones. I don't do a lot with their domains anymore. They used to be huge. This is actually the site that I used to get started with. But nowadays, GoDaddy has overtaken nearly everyone. So we'll look down through a couple of these pages, see if we can grab something. So one thing about SnapNames and Namejet, which is a similar one, these domains, you have to actually join the auction before the domain name. So the date that they have is the start of the auction. You have to be willing to pay in order to even join the auction, which the good thing is that keeps a lot of people out of the auction, because you have to find it before it actually goes up for auction. So there's a lot of people kind of kicking themselves on the sidelines when these things go up. Not really seeing much. A lot of just random words put together. If you see something, then let me know. But I'm not really seeing anything other than some weird brandables. Here you go, cruisingrivers.com. River cruising is a complete, like a pretty big industry. So I'll use this one as an example though. So cruisingrivers.com, this could be possibly a travel type site where you're promoting river cruises. I don't know if you get the authority and the validation from cruisingrivers.com. So if you call some of these places, who knows? I mean, a little bit. It says what it's looking for. It sounds reasonable. So what you would need to do is, if you were going to participate in the SnapNames, you would add it to your cart, and you basically say, I'm willing to pay $69 to back order and pre-order this domain name. You and everyone else does that, and the result is, if there's more than one person that's wants this domain name, it goes up for auction. If you're the only one, though, this domain actually, you get it for $69. That doesn't happen very often. It typically goes up for auction. So let me just do a quick search, Cruising Rivers. Since we're talking about it, I want to grab some more data. In the past, I've went to the data and then found out that I was completely ridiculous. Yeah, see, here you go. This is what I kind of expected. It sounds like a good domain name. Sounds like it has something to do with river cruising. But you'll see here, Cruising Rivers, just not used, no searches, kind of bad questions, bad. It just doesn't, skip that domain. Bad domain. Just does not have the keyword exact match that we're looking for. Okay, so there we go. We went through some drop catch domains, and now we're heading over to GoDaddy expired domains. But before we dive into this, let's do a little bit of pricing. Let's talk about some price. I would have loved to have had. I'm trying to. I love approaching things based on the domain names that we see on the actual auctions. So I'll kind of call an audible here. Let's go through some GoDaddy domains. And what I want to do here is I am ordering them by the valuation, which is what I do with the GoDaddy domains. And hopefully what we'll see here is we'll be able to find a domain that is actually of interest, and then we can kind of use it to segue into buying how much to charge. Let's see here. We may get it, we may not get it. Dream Hunter, Dorman, Dorman.com. It sounds, I don't know, Dormin, that's plural, but Kind of interesting. That'd be more for branding more than anything else. Stop down. Inspired Cloudrich. So if you're joining me and by some chance you don't watch this very often, the domain names we look at primarily on this show are expired domain names. So expired domain names meaning the previous owner has let the domain name expire. For whatever reason, they've decided to let it expire. That means that it's going through a progress. It goes through several steps until finally it's available for others to register it. Prior to it just being available just on GoDaddy or any registrar out there, it goes through an auction period. So that way, if the domain name has value, it goes through auction and people can bid on it. Gaffers, that's a real thing. So gaffers, I believe, is a one-word keyword. I only know that because I watched the credits of a lot of movies. I don't really think there's much value, or rather than me just guessing, let me type it into SEMrush, one of our tools. So gaffers. Yeah, I'm spelling it right. So Gaffers has 22,000 searches, 22,000 exact searches. So Gaffer's tape, I got some of this laying around here. You use it for covering wires and things. So Gaffers is a pretty damn good domain name if you deal with this kind of stuff. So what is Gaffer's tape? So 22,000 searches. An interesting it's really this is a good domain name. This is if you have anything to do with cleaning up sets, keeping wires down, or you just want to sell Gaffer's tape, which is a product that's usually on you have everything from really expensive rolls of Gaffer tape down to cheaper stuff. That one is certainly worth a bid. Let's see what it's going for, or let's see if it's even actually going. So it's currently at $65. I'm going to place a bid. Of course, it's going to make me log in, which is going to let everybody see my bidder ID. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Okay, there we go. I've been outbid, but we are in on the gaffers.com. So let me see. As you saw, good keyword, exact match. What the heck to do with it? You can sell a product. You can create a directory of other people that sell products. You can do a comparison chart showing different versions of Gaffer's tape. Can we do our normal business model directory? Probably not. I don't really see my limited knowledge. I don't know how we would do it. But at least we have one domain name. Single word gaffers.com is what we have. So let's talk a little bit about pricing. So I'm bringing you over to my my Skycam here. And I love Skycam. So this is what we're used to seeing here, right? So hopefully if you've been with me for any number of weeks, you are familiar with what this is referring to. This is saying you can buy a domain name and you can build a business on any domain name whatsoever. You can just put blood, sweat, and tears in and use that virtual real estate to build an empire. So if you've ever seen a domain name, a crappy domain name with a great business on it, this is what they did. Blood, sweat, and tears had really nothing to do with that domain name. Now, you can, of course, buy and sell domain names as well, which a lot of people do. So what we are looking to do, though, when we talk about domain development, we are looking to find domain names that are not just any domain name. We're looking for exact match keywords. We're looking for domain names that bring authority. They bring a level of validation. So if you call somebody in that industry and you say, I'm with bartenders.com, I'm Drew with gaffers.com, and we wanted to list your Gaffers tape on our site or something. When you have those kinds of domain names, you have authority. It doesn't matter if you know very little about that industry, you immediately can enter an industry. So the other is potential, like gaffers.com. The domain name instantly has, yes, it has the real estate, the blank slate that comes from any domain name, but it has potential because it's also listing a product. You can do any number of different business models because it already has potential inherent to the quality of the domain name. And then scarcity. This is the idea that there's only one gaffers.com. There's only one exactmatch.com domain name for it, and you're going to own it. All of these different things add value to a domain name, which, yes, you can buy and sell. But what we want to do and what we talk about most often is we want to tap this domain name with a development project that allows us to pull out money over time. Okay, so we tap the domain name, and some people put up ads. I am completely against ads. But what are they doing when they put up an ad? What are they doing when they're basically trying to use that domain name to make a profit? So maybe $1, $2, $5, $100 a month that they're making just by putting up ads. I want the domain name to bring value to the world, value to the internet. I think domains are like everything. They should be developed. So when we talk about value and bringing monthly reoccurring value and pulling profit off of this, what we are talking about is development, putting something out there. Doesn't have to be elaborate. It doesn't have to be you curing some kind of major business problem or anything like that. It can be as simple as a search engine for a product, a search engine for the search. And when I say search engine, I'm not talking algorithm, crazy search. I'm talking you have a database of 100, 200, 300, 1,000 companies, and you help people find companies near them, or you find companies that offer a certain service. Very basic stuff. That domain name being shared amongst all the people that might be interested in participating in it. So this is where we're going to start off. This idea of tapping a domain name, and over time, we are taking monthly or annual payments. So the question that we want to talk about, I did a Twitter poll. And the question is, how many people or like basically, would you want me to talk about logo design stuff, which I have some important information about logo design, but we'll wait for another day. Or do you want to talk about pricing strategies? And overwhelmingly, everybody said pricing strategies. So here we are. So pricing strategies. So the question is, okay, we have value. How much should we charge for this? How much can we charge? And I've spent a lot of time on this. And you may be here now. Maybe you work on pricing strategy and things also. I just want to say this. A lot of times when it comes to pricing, and I'm guilty of this as well, we want to spend a bunch of time thinking about pricing, thinking about how much money we can make and all these different things. Like, what if we charge this? What if we... All of it is typically a delay tactic. You're spending money on the idea of pricing instead of making your product better or working on your sales or your marketing, things that actually matter. So the point being, throwing back to that quote that I mentioned at the beginning with my coach, Darren Hardy, where he says, how much can you sell this for? Well, the price is whatever your ability to sell it at is. Now, we also add in the idea that this is reoccurring revenue. So there's not just a one-time sale. You have to provide ongoing value to where they keep with you forever. That is where it gets complicated. That is where these strategies that I'm going to share with you today are really going to be impactful. If you're selling a one-time product, realistically, if you fool people, then they just don't come back to you. You know, if I get somebody to buy a cup and I'm like, oh, this is the greatest cup, I'll sign it even. I somehow create urgency. You buy the cup because I tell you how these cups, they're clear so you can see if a bug's gotten in your water or whatever else. I create a story, somehow talk you into buying this cup for $20 or some crazy thing. And you get that cup, you're going to be like, well, that was stupid. I shouldn't have paid that $20 and I'm never ordering from there again. Maybe you get a bad review, maybe you don't. what we have to do when we talk about this idea of monthly reoccurring revenue, this, like, all of the sites, when I talk about internet marketing as a service, IMaaS, or any of these directory sites that are monthly reoccurring, none of our sites, none of them have a contract. All of my customers can cancel at any time. So why am I hitting this home? Or why am I trying to, what am I trying to communicate, I guess I should say? If they can cancel anytime, you better damn well bring value every single month. And you also have to consider your value has to be greater than the price they pay. Because otherwise they're going to wake up someday, they're going to see your credit card statement, and they're going to go, I don't need this anymore. I need to cancel this off. So we want to overcome that. So what I'm getting at is time to bring out, actually I'll bring out a Sharpie. Find my Sharpie, here we go. And what we're going to talk about is if we have this idea of time and we want to, on a monthly basis, pull off some amount of money, the domain name that we have, our domain name will determine like a baseline value. And this is why having a great domain name is so important. If you have a domain name that sucks, that you went out and hand registered, and it's a $10 domain name, really doesn't bring authority, doesn't bring validation, doesn't really communicate something of value. It just is a brand. In that case, your domain value is realistically zero. But if you have a domain that like lots of people would want, lots of people search for the exact same keyword, it brings instant authority, it validates you. The value of the domain name goes up. So let's say that this is let's say that we're talking about bartenders.com. Bartenders.com was a $50,000 domain name that we purchased. So any given bartender, any given bartender service out there would love to have it, but realistically, in most cases, they're not going to go drop $50,000 on a domain name. Why would they not? Well, they're a local service. They really only work in the Cincinnati area or a 50-mile area of here. Why would they want to invest this kind of money in a domain name that's really going to benefit them in one area? So what we do is we use this domain name. We go as domain investors, as domain developers. We buy the premium asset, that expensive asset, and then we say, hey, we're going to share this domain name with your companies, and we're just going to ask you for some amount of money per month, like a membership to be participating in this domain name. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to be able to present a value that is higher than the domain. It's really that, it's as simple as that. So if we can say our value is $100 a month or something, hopefully it's more than $100, but you say the value, if you were to have this domain name, it's going to benefit your company at least $100 a month. Here's how we quantify that. You give some information like this keyword shows up in the search engine a certain number of times. The domain name, we paid it for $50,000. Let's just start with that. You pay $50,000 for this domain name, it's going to be worth $50,000 forever. That's why it's this straight line. Like the value brought by this domain name is this forever. The value you're able to sell it is higher. So the actual price that you want to charge is actually going to be lower. So there's actually a different. I feel like I'm missing the. So ask questions, whether it's in the chat or in the whether you're watching this on Restream. I want to follow this up. I want to get this stuff through because it's important stuff. I've already spent the time thinking about it, putting down notes. Like, let me save you a bunch of time on it. And I don't feel like I'm clearly communicating quite yet. But so the price that we charge This here is between the domain name, the tools. So we might have some tools that we launch with it. We'll have traffic. And if traffic is 0, traffic might be 0 to start with. That's why I had this. So let me okay, I'll take one little segue and just say, this is a multicolored pencil that my wife made me, or that she bought me. And I mentioned a few weeks back, there's a domain name for like multicolored pen or something like that, and I was talking about this pencil. So, and here's why I wanted to do this. So let's say we call the brown line is our traffic. Hopefully you can kind of read this. So traffic's going to start off probably at 0, and then we want to increase it over time. And then our tools, the tools that we add to the site, here's what we're going to do as pink. The tools that we add to the site will have some value, and hopefully we continue to improve them over time. Yeah, it's because I'm moving. Thanks, Mike. I think it's because I'm moving away from my mic. It's one of those directional mics. I got to stay put, and I like to move. Sorry, I'll try to stay in one place. So tools, we have the pink line. Domains are dotted line. Domains, the great domains seem to be going up in value over time. So in theory, this will actually go up a little bit on your domain. So all of these together are going to determine the value that you're able to provide customers. So that's going to determine the value that you're able to provide. So now your whole thought is, what do you want to charge? We need to charge something based on the value. In most cases, realistically, you're going to launch something. It's going to have like 0 traffic, very little tools. And you run into the question that everybody's always asking, which is, how do you start? What do you charge at the beginning? How do you find your first customers? When you start a business, there's nobody there. You have no social proof. Well, I'm glad you asked. Those are the questions that I'm going to address right now. Like this, you will have a progression through several steps here. So we want to use the authority that we have in the domain name. We need to figure out how we can use that to add additional customers. So now we can be like, hey, I'm Drew with bartenders.com. It's an authoritative domain name. We would like to list your bartending service on bartenders.com for X amount of dollars. How much is that? How much are we going to charge? Well, we're using our authority. So now how are we going to get them to make that decision? Well, we need to find a way to, one of the ways that we do that is through scarcity. Is that scarcity? Okay. It's through scarcity. So now we say, which I'll get into this here in a second, authority leads to scarcity, which that is how we're going to create our first customers, which will allow us to then rely more on social proof. So all of these pieces, the value we've created, the authoritative domain name leading to scarcity, leading to being able to show social proof, all of this comes together in this. When we start charging some amount of money, it needs to be thinking of these things. We can say, hey, bartenders.com, how much can we charge just for an authoritative domain name? Because remember, we don't have much traffic. We don't have many tools or anything going on. Well, we need to start as cheap as possible. So what we might do is start off at $19.95 or some low price. Let me see. It's hard to see. So you're going to start off at some price, $19.95. Now, who are you going to charge this for? $19.95. You're going to do that for, say, your first 10 members, first 100 members even. If you're implementing the Local Legion 300, which the goal is to get you to your first 300 companies by getting one customer in each of the top 300 cities, what you want to do is you want to start this where 1995, let's apply some scarcity. You get this. Here's how we're going to apply scarcity. We're going to say 1995 is for the first company in that local area. So in that city, the first company that signs up is 1995. Every company after that will be like $30 a month or something like that. So now we have scarcity. We're going to say, hope it doesn't confuse things if I say first is $20, second $30, and then third and more is going to be $45 a month. So here's what we're trying to do. Okay, we're looking for a bartender service in Cincinnati, and this bartender service in Cincinnati, we're looking for the first one to move in. Who's going to do it? Well, we have bartenders.com. We want you to show up there. The first company to sign up in Cincinnati gets it for $19.95 or $20 a month. And you get to keep that rate forever. And you'll be known as a founding member of bartenders.com. So those are some of the language that we would use to sell at a $20 price. Okay? Those are the first people. So now we already have the first person there. They're already number one. Number two, how are we going to sell them? Well, first spot's taken. Second spot, it's $30. The first spot's already taken. They were the first member there, but we do have the second spot available. It's only $30 per month. It's far below our regular price of, say, $60 a month. But we're offering a discount because we need the second company in Cincinnati for $30 per month. So now you can be calling Cincinnati. First one gets 20. Boom. Now anyone who is looking, who is an early adopter, is going to be willing to pull the trigger real quick. It's $20 a month, no big deal. Want to do it. Boom. The next guy, $30 a month. They're wishing they were first, but they'll be second, and they'll kick themselves if they find out that they could have been paying $20 a month. But hey, at least they're not paying $45 a month, because that's what we're going to be charging the third spot and each of the companies for the first, like, say, 100 companies that join the site. A lot of information. Hopefully that comes through pretty quick. Let me show you a little. Let me try to show this a little bit in the visual standpoint. So let's say this is 100 companies here. Site-wide, our regular price. That's why I'm confused here. Okay, our regular price is going to be $60. So for the first 100 companies, the regular price is $60. However, we are running a promotion to where the first company in this zip code is $20. The second company is going to be $30. The third company, $45. Everybody else, $60 a month. So everybody's getting a discount. But then here's the thing: as of 100 companies, or this can be 300 companies, or this can be 1,000 companies, you make these numbers up when you feel you have the social proof necessary to be a real site, and maybe you've hit your break-even numbers, whatever it may be. You raise your prices, and only on new members. That's one of the keys there. Only on new members you're raising prices. So now members 100 to say 500 are now going to be paying $80 a month, or some amount per month. Same thing. Now, what happens if nobody's in that zip code? You just raised your price, because there's 22,000 zip codes in the United States, and or location. There's 300 of them. You're raising prices. Well, you can still offer that promotion. Maybe you raise the price where the first company in any given location is now $40 a month, then $60 a month, and then everybody else is $80 a month. What you are doing is using your pricing. You are using your pricing to take a domain name with authority. You're using scarcity by giving a reward to the first company, the second company, the third company. And then you're using those, and now you're a company that has 200 founding members. Well, what do these 200 companies know that everybody doesn't know? That's social proof. You're showing that this site is valuable to other people. Now, back to this section here. What is going to happen with your traffic when you have 200 members on the site? Your traffic's going to be up higher. So now the value that you're able to provide people is actually going to be up higher. Why is it going up? Well, Google sees that you have a directory of 200 bartenders. So now you're starting to show up for more keywords related to bartenders. Those bartenders have hopefully customized their profile. Those profiles are showing up in the search engines. Again, you're starting to see the benefits of 200 bartenders starting to participate, which if you look down here, that right there, those 200 or that first 100 customers, that's why you're able to increase your price, is because the more people you get, the more traffic, the more valuable information is going to be on your domain name. When you first start, your content is going to be garbage. It's going to be an empty directory. So you have to get those first people. So let me just kind of, the numbers that I've mentioned so far have been mostly theoretical, but I will tell you this. $20 per month is my go-to starting price. I usually do $19.95 a month or $99 per year. That's if I do annual. I prefer monthly. So $19.95 per month is my go-to. Then yes, I go up to $30. Then I live for quite some time at $45 per month. I love $45 per month because it's right around $500 a year. So when you're hanging out at $45 a month, you can tell your customers, hey, for about $500 a year, you'll be a member. So $500 a year, that's part of why I stick around with 45. Then I do step up to 80, and then, I go to 60, then 80, then 99. That's the progress that I've made with our sites. This is around 500 a year, and right in here, I love 80 also. 80 is one of my favorites because it is allows you to be around $1,000 a year. So there you go. All that chicken scratch. Hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So these are the prices I go with when I'm dealing with business to business, which when you're developing domains, you will likely be dealing with business to business. Businesses are going to be the ones that are willing to spend, $500 on a whim. So let me, I love diving into theory, guys. It waters down it waters the topic down a little bit, but realistically, the price doesn't matter if you kind of understand that progression from authority, using scarcity to establish your social proof. Those are key things. So scarcity being quantities are limited time. Then social proof being showing others using it helps to sell it in the future. I just want to talk about one last little thing, which I'm going to include into a video I'm going to pull out for the Local Legion 300. I'm going to redo that and try to make it a heck of a lot clearer than this in the future. So let me go to Skycam one more time and just show you this. There is a book about the adoption cycle of a product. So, how do people decide that they're going to start using a product or service? Well, it's called Innovator's Dilemma. Wait, no, not Innovator's Dilemma. Crossing the Chasm. I read a lot. Hopefully you do too. But Crossing the Chasm is the name of the book. And it's the idea that these early adopters, about 15% of any different market are early adopters. So what does this mean to you? 15%. If you have a large enough industry, 15% of those companies are going to be early adopters. And the character attributes or the characteristics of these early adopters are that they don't require the hand-holding. They're willing to take a risk. They just need to have a basic logical argument for why they should move forward on this. They have to be able to catch your vision a little bit. These are the people that we are targeting when we are talking about the Local Legion 300. The money, the bulk of an industry's money is made back here with these, these are the laggards. So these are the people that are late to the party. This is the bulk of the market, though. These early adopters, let's say you get 300 of them. These are going to be the ones that propel you with social proof, with helping you create a product that's improved and better that will let you target the bulk masses. What I've found though is forget the bulk masses. Like I have thousand some companies on towing.com. A few hundred of them are some of my earliest adopters that still pay like $30, $45 or less, and I never raised their prices because they have helped us build our product. They've provided that traffic, they provided the social proof, and so we keep the price low. Then we charge, as we bring people on, a higher price. Point being, these early adopters are who you're looking for. If you call any of these people, so 85% of the calls you're going to make are going to be no's. They're going to be people that are not able to take a chance on a .com startup, or even if it seems to make sense, they're going to be no. So all of these people over here, they're looking for a lot of documentation. They're looking for a community to help them with community. They're going to be looking for proven, the boring stuff. They're going to be looking for everybody else that's already doing it. They need a lot of people already doing something before they'll ever join in. They don't take risks. So that's why we look for these people up here. That's a kind of a key piece of both the Local Legion 300 as well as our pricing strategy is you take care of these early adopters. They're going to be the people that will stick with you as long as you're living up to the expectations of the vision you're setting out of using that domain name to benefit their company. They're going to stick with you. We have, this is just me ballparking. I'd have to look it up. I think we have 23 people, 24 companies that have been with towing.com since 2007. 24 companies, I believe it is. They're still paying $19.95. Why do I charge them so little? It's because they were the early adopters that caught the vision when we were like this little baby site that had nothing but a great domain name. Then we raised price to $30 and $45. And I think we have right around like 170 companies that are still way back at the beginning. You're talking the first few years, 10 plus years they've been on the site to be paying $35, $45 a year. Then as we start to really have our proof down and stuff, and we start to kind of try to jump the chasm, this idea that we have to be able to prove ourselves and show that we're popular enough. That's why we're charging $99 a month. It's almost, we're almost charging a bit of a penalty because all of these early companies, like they built this city, they built our domain name out into an actual site that has community, that's we've had to document, we've taken their questions, their concerns, the things they've run into, we've documented it, we've answered them. All of this that we're going to have was built by these early adopters. So don't just try to make as much as you can off these early adopters, especially share, bring them in to build your community. So, okay, last little rant on that. Okay, I'm going to look over my notes just real quick. Let me address this one question. Should you offer free listings? It's the number one question that people ask. I should have mentioned this right up front. Should you offer free listings? The answer is it's up to you. Nothing is free though. We are just now increasingly offering more and more free listings. But what does a free listing look like? Free listing does not mean you're giving something away free. Everything you do is a win-win situation. So when people pay you money, it's because you are bringing them value. So if you're not charging money, that person has to be bringing you value. You're still giving them something of value. Now you have to get value from them in some other way. So what does that look like? So when we give a free listing, we do things like we require that they log in or are active on the site. They have to maybe add content to the site. They have to actively participate. They can't just be a taker. They have to share with us the journey of being a free listing on our site, being a registered company. So they have to be active. The content they provide, their presence, different things that they bring to the table benefit us. Therefore, we benefit them with a directory listing. Now, our goal is not to bring them business. Our goal is to let them benefit from some of the tools and exposure that they might get on towing.com or on our different sites. If you want to bring them business, they need to pay. Like that's, if you're trying to bring them business, I don't give free featured listings on any of our sites. That's an important piece. Don't give free value. Don't give free business to people. Make them step up to the plate. At least make them say, if you give them business, they'll pay you. And put a credit card on file or something. So I don't give free listings, but what I do is I don't charge. This is a good way to put it. This is how we put it internally. It's not free. They pay us with time. So you can pay us money to be a featured listing, or you can pay us with time. That time is you need to log into your account. You need to add content or upload a photo or a cover image. You need to spend time on our site. Otherwise, it's not free. And we actually, every 90 days, if they've not logged into the site, we disable their account until they log back in. So they have to be active. That's our experimentation with free accounts. Let me see. One of the things I browsed over was this idea of founding members. Your early members, give them the title of founding member. You'll see this on especially some of the newer sites we do. We give them the prestige of being marked forever as a founding member on our site. It's kind of like being an OG, you know, they're an original gangster on our different sites. So let me head over back to domains as we're wrapping up these last few minutes. I want to try to find some, stick to the philosophy of let's find some domains to develop. So hopefully that pricing discussion has been helpful. This is my first time kind of discussing pricing. I enjoy being in the weeds of the academic discussion, the theories behind it, and it shows up especially when I first try to discuss a topic, which is why there's probably some, I'm confident there's a little bit of confusion. Please ask questions, ping me, DM me, whatever it is. It will help me clean up this content, but it will also hopefully clear up and help you choose the right price to charge your customers for your service. And hopefully, Michael, that sound and stuff is picked back up. I believe it's because when I look around, I need to switch to a lapel mic. I just have not, I don't know. I don't like lapel mics, but I move around a lot. So a directional mic, something that's supposed to pick it up when I'm sitting here talking to you on the camera, it doesn't work when I'm looking all over the place or looking down at the desk. I feel like the expired domains the last few weeks have been less than kids' daycare. I'm guessing daycare is a huge business. It has that hidden S in the middle. Let's see what shows up when we go over and do a keyword search over on SEMrush. Actually, let me click on that real quick just to make sure it's an actual domain that's going to be expired. That I don't want to analyze it if it's not actually going to be available, which sometimes they get renewed. So kids daycare. Okay, let's see here. So here's what I love about this. It's a local business, which all the pricing, all these strategies that we've been discussing are great, best for local businesses. And so let's see here. 1.9 exact matches is what it's saying. And look at this. It actually does include kids daycare. So that includes that S in the middle. So there are occasions where you can you could benefit from it. Now, here's the thing. Here's what I hate about this. So I typically say a singular domain name shares its value with a plural domain name. Now what you've done is you've created a plural, you've created two words. Any of those words can be plural. So now you're talking this domain name is only worth like 25% of the total traffic amount. Because kid daycare, kids daycare, kids daycares, kids daycare, like all of those can share value related to the topic. So, but kids daycare, $4. Let's see if anybody's searching. Do a Google search for kids daycare. Okay, KinderCare. Let me just do a search on the page to see if we find. So what you'll see here. So what I did was I just did a browser highlight of kids daycare. So that's the exact keyword that we're looking for. And you'll see that that keyword does not show up really in anyone's SEO, doesn't show up in any of the ads. So the keyword, even though it's targeted, even though it has exact match keywords, you got to pretty much count on it not being very valuable. So kids daycare, I don't necessarily like the domain name. It's going to be confusing to people. However, it has authority. It validates the topic, has exact match keywords, and I'm guessing there's quite a few sites out there that would love to have kidsdaycare.com. I would probably put the value, if you can get that bad boy, there's some big money in daycare. If you can get that domain for like $500 or less, there's so much money in kids daycare. The only thing is I'd much rather own daycare.com or daycares.com, childcare.com. There's all kinds of competing domain names. But if you can get the domain name for cheap, it could be a great first development project where all you're doing is listing different daycares. Local search started off cheap. They pay a monthly fee. You're just looking for a few daycares per city, and you apply Local Legion 300. So great domain name for any early budding domain developers out there. kidsdaycare.com, and that is ending in about 5 days. Currently $12, so super cheap. Worth getting if you are a domain developer. If you're just looking for an investment, don't buy it, mostly because I want a developer to get it. I feel that way about all these. I don't want freaking these domains to just sit there. I want them to be developed. It's part of why I haven't been buying domain names all that much, because they're just sitting there in my portfolio, and it freaking pisses me off. I get angry at myself. I want these domains to be developed. We got to bring value to the world. We got to do something big. Okay. That will be where we end, I believe. kidsdaycare.com was our ending. So, thanks for bearing with me through the pricing discussion. This would be the kind of thing that if we could all just get together in a room with a whiteboard and just discuss this, it would be a blast. I love talking prices. I love thinking about if we can get, if we can just apply the 300, if we can get 300 customers to, apply the Local Legion 300 to, people paying what, $45 a month. That's $13,000 a month if you can get 300 people paying $45 a month. Pretty good income. So all these different strategies can be what are, make or break your product. Make or break whether you can work just for yourself or whether you, is it a side project or is it going to be your main thing? Pricing is going to be vital to that. Hopefully I've shown the progression between $20, $30, $45, $60, $80, $99, which start as low as you can, unless you have variable costs. I didn't get into that, but that's a completely different thing. If you're selling a physical product, then you would have variable costs. Okay, well, I'm going to be traveling to Phoenix. I'm going to be going even more brain dead doing training. So I love just, I'm a huge fan of learning, knowledge, and continual learning. It's reading like crazy, paying for trainings from great teachers like Darren. So I'll be going Brain Dead out in Phoenix with me, my wife, and I'll be back here on the studio Monday, hopefully with enough brain cells to be able to communicate clearly with you. Thank you for joining me. I very much appreciate it. If you haven't already, like, share this video, and keep in touch. See you next week.